When Dale Earnhardt Sr. crashed during the last lap of the Daytona 500 more than 2 decades ago, his untimely passing put a dark shadow over NASCAR racing.
It's undoubtedly one of the toughest announcements that I've ever personally had to make.
But inside sources are now revealing a dark secret about Dale. Apparently, he had anger issues. Listen closely, because you won't believe what Dale said during his fits of rage. The story of NASCAR racing champion Dale Earnhardt Sr. is legendary.
It's unbelievable that we won 7.
But behind the scenes, Dale had an insane dark side. Not only was Dale capable of yelling and cursing at people, but he also reportedly physically harmed people during fits of rage. And his crazy behavior is still shocking today.
Mad as hell because you were drinking, hanging out, so it pissed him off, and then he went spike.
Fans back in the day had a crazy nickname for Dale. He was known far and wide as the Intimidator. Dale won the NASCAR Cup Series 7 times, and although he made NASCAR super popular and brought racing to a whole new fan base, Dale had one dangerous habit as a race car driver. He made lots of enemies among NASCAR drivers.
Knocked the breath out of him. I couldn't breathe. I broke 3 ribs.
Dale never backed away from contact, even when he was burning around the racetrack at dangerous speeds. Being aggressive was just in Dale's nature, but shockingly, he didn't leave his aggressive nature on the track. Dale Earnhardt Jr. took over the Earnhardt legacy after Dale Sr.'s tragic passing in 2001. Dale Jr. has a successful podcast where he talks about a lot of crazy things on and off the track. It's called the Dale Jr. Download, and he's had many sources with inside knowledge on his podcast as special guests. If you want the real truth about NASCAR, there are many sides to this story, including Dale Jr.'s shocking relationship with his late father. Listen closely, because these stories are unbelievable. Dale Jr. revealed the most shocking moment in episode 342. On this podcast episode, nothing was off limits. Dale Jr. shared intimate details of the day his world came crashing down. It might have sounded like he was telling just another story with his buddies, but you could tell that this day would stay with Dale Jr. forever. Dale Jr. had wrecked a racing vehicle during a practice run, and he figured that was the end of the line for him.
I think my career's over.
Something else happened on that fateful day that would change Dale Jr.'s life, and he never expected that this day would ever come, because Dale Sr. showed up at the trailer where Dale Jr. was drinking away his sorrows, and Dale Sr. was in one of his raging fits of anger.
Dad comes walking in. He looks over at my buddies and goes, "Get your shoes on and get off my property."
After Dale Sr. kicked out his son's friends, the father and son battle got worse.
And Dad looks down at me and goes, "What in the hell are you doing?"
Dale Sr. had brought his right-hand man along when he confronted his son in the trailer. If Dale Sr. was the intimidator, then Ty Norris was the lieutenant. Ty was a guest on Dale's podcast, and after Dale told his side of the story, Ty shared his shocking memories of the huge fight between Dale Sr. and Jr. Dale Jr. asked Ty what it was like on the drive over, before Dale Sr. went off on Dale Jr. Ty made it clear.
He was just mad as hell.
But as the fight moved outside where Ty stood waiting on the porch, Ty could tell his angry encounter was different somehow, and that shocked Ty to the core. What happened was so unbelievable. Ty didn't know if he should tell that side of the story on Dale's podcast.
I don't know if I should share, but I'm going to share it anyway.
And then Ty described the moment that changed Dale Jr. and Sr.'s relationship forever. Ty revealed that Dale Sr. began to tear a strip off Dale Jr. It was classic Dale Sr. behavior, and Ty knew from personal experience how crazy angry Dale Sr. could get. But then the shocking moment happened, and
It was the first time I saw him do this,
Ty watched in amazement as Dale Jr. stood up to his dad.
and Dale's face changed.
Dale Sr. wasn't used to people standing up to him, but there was something more. Ty recognized the look on Dale Sr.'s face, because he experienced the same intense emotion during an argument with his son. Ty called it a father-son moment, and he walked away to give Dale Sr. and Jr. their privacy. He knew that this crazy moment between Dale Sr. and Jr. was special, and Dale also admitted how that moment changed his life.
It's the greatest conversation we ever had.
It was the first time Dale Sr. explained his side of the story, and how everything he was doing and building with Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, he was doing for his son. That's a fantastic way to remember Dale Sr. and pay tribute to his accomplishments. But that still doesn't erase the real truth about Dale's dark side, and no one remembers Dale's rage better than Ty. Ty will never forget the insane thing Dale Sr. did to him during a fit of rage. You won't believe this, because Ty was an actual victim of Dale Sr.'s intense rage. Listen closely to how this crazy incident between Dale Sr. and Ty played out. When Dale Sr., the Intimidator, was the king of NASCAR, his employees and pit crew used to play basketball on their work breaks to blow off some steam. One day, one of Dale's workers suffered a minor injury playing basketball. So what do you think Dale Sr. did? You won't believe this, but Dale banned his employees from playing basketball at work. Dale could lay down the law on the job, but that couldn't stop people from playing basketball in their own time. Shockingly, that's just what Ty did. Ty used to shoot hoops in a house league at his local YMCA. And then one night during a basketball game, Ty tore up his knee and injured his ACL pretty badly. Ty knew that Dale was not going to feel sorry for him, but even Ty couldn't have predicted his world would come crashing down the next day. Dale already knew that Ty had been playing basketball in his spare time. He had phoned Ty to see how early he was getting to work the next day. Ty said he'd be at work first thing. He also made an uncomfortable decision. He confessed to Dale that he had hurt his knee, and shockingly, Dale asked Ty how he did it. Can you imagine how Ty felt when he admitted to Dale he had been playing basketball? Ty knew that Dale was mad about it when he muttered, "See you tomorrow," and slammed down the phone. But nothing could have prepared Ty for the following day. As Ty limped into work on his injured knee, he saw Dale walking out of the building to greet him. Ty remembered that Dale was wearing a sponsorship shirt with blue jeans and boots on. Dale was dressed up because he had to go to a personal appearance. But before that, he got personal with Ty. And what happened next is shocking and unbelievable. Dale surprised Ty when he put out his hand. Ty thought that Dale was just shaking his hand in a greeting, but Dale went crazy. And Ty described his shock and disbelief as Dale Sr. raised his boot and kicked Ty as hard as he could in Ty's injured knee. Dale's violent kick sent Ty toppling to the ground. Ty remembered it hurting so badly, he shed tears. What's worse, Ty remembered Dale Sr. standing over him and the threat that came from Dale's lips. Dale said, "I told you never to play basketball. I'm not going to have my employees where they can't be around." There were so many days behind the scenes that Dale Sr. could act like a monster, even if Dale Jr. and Ty know and realize what an important influence Dale Sr. had on their lives. If Dale Sr.'s heart was in the right place, he sometimes had a terrifying and crazy way of showing it. But anyway, what do you guys think? Have you ever heard stories of Dale Sr.'s fits of rage? Let me know in the comments below.